Hey guys, Kelly from Rookie Hunter. This episode is powered by Dark Energy. Dark Energy makes innovative hunting products for the modern hunter. Use promo code ROOKIE10 at the checkout and save 10%. When you use the promo code, you save and support the show at the same time. Go to darkenergy.com.
Welcome to episode 15. This is Mike here. On this episode, we're going to be talking about some of the things that have hit the news. We've covered some of this stuff already, but it kind of leads into hunter reputations and what we all need to do to help improve that. We're also going to be talking about some of our fitness plans and some of the races that we've signed up for. We're also just about a week away from the beginning of bow season, which starts September 1st for us here in British Columbia. So we're pretty excited to be getting out there. As Kelly said in the intro, please go to darkenergy.com and use our promo code ROOKIE10 to save yourself 10% on all of their excellent outdoor items for hunters. So I'm going to leave it at that. So you know what to do. Sit back, relax, crack a cold beer, and enjoy episode 15 of The Rookie Hunter. All right. The date today is August 24th, which means we've got seven or 8 days until the first day of bow hunting. So we're in the studio, and I lease out a space next to me here. That's just basically a big empty warehouse. So we're in the recording studio now, and next to both of us, we've got our bows sitting here. So once we're done recording, we're going to go next door and
Fling some arrows.
Yeah, because time always flies by. Summer's busy. You and I haven't really been practicing, so we need to make sure that we're ready. So if we're not feeling like we're confident by next week, then maybe we're going to have to delay our bow hunting, but go out and do some scouting anyways. But yeah, I think over the next 7 days here, we'll probably get the bows out quite a bit so that we are feeling good for next week.
Yeah, I think just a little bit of practice goes a long way, and then making sure that we're all sighted in.
Yeah.
I just realized I forgot my Allen key set. I don't know if you got anything.
Oh, I've got some here, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I
I think I'm pretty close. I haven't moved it around, and it's always been pretty close.
I think mine's good to go too, but I guess we'll find out. You never know.
Yeah.
What's on tap today, Kel?
I don't know how to pronounce this. I think this is the first time we've had this on, but Persephone Brewing Company, Hop Yard Red Ale from Gibson's, BC.
Nice. Somebody actually dropped that off for me, so thanks.
Cheers to them.
Yeah. I said to give it a try. It's kind of a darker, nuttier beer. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost on the stout side.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little thicker, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's a nice change from the summer kind of fruit-ish type beer we've been drinking.
Yeah. Being that it's August, it's still, like right now outside, it's super hot out. It's 5:30, but it's cooking out there. But the nights are starting to cool down, which is nice. Like last night I had the window wide open, and it kind of reminds you that hunting season is pretty damn close here, and fall's just around the corner. So it's normally that would sort of be depressing to me, the fact that summer is slipping away, but
now I'm just like,
now it's like,
get out of here.
You could bring it on.
Yeah. Get out of here, son.
And I've said it before, but it's so nice to have a fall hobby because it kind of chases the blues away when you're trying to hold on to the last bits of summer. But now it's like we're going to be heading outdoors probably more than we have been throughout the summer. It just gets so hot here that it's hard to, unless you're up early doing some hiking, it's too much.
Yeah, you gotta leave at like 7 a.m. to do anything.
Yeah.
And then meat-wise, like if you get anything, whether it's a rabbit or September 1st, we're going to try to go out.
Yeah.
If we get something that day, I'm sure it's going to be super hot, probably, 20s, mid-20s.
We're going to have to be quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm
coolers.
I'm not really into going too far out at this point. It'll just be little day trips.
Yeah.
That aren't too far from the truck. So if we do get something, we can retrieve it pretty quickly and get it home because.
Yeah, we can't get super high in elevation around here quickly.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it'd be a little cooler up there too, but we're kind of, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 feet kind of around in this elevation, in this plateau. So it's still pretty warm in those areas.
Definitely.
All day.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting another cooler. Yetis are obviously
expensive.
I would love to get some, whether it's Yeti or Grizzly or any of those companies, right? But I've got a Coleman Extreme with it's hard to open the lid on it. Like you have to get 2 hands on it to pop that thing open. And I think it's like a 60 or 70 quart. So I was going to get one more of those. And if you wait for them to go on sale, you can find them at Canadian Tire or whatever. You can find them all the time.
Nice.
I think it's like a light blue color, but I'd recommend those. Like if you don't want to spend $400 or $500 on a cooler, this thing works pretty good. You might lose a couple days of ice time.
Yeah.
But you're still in the like 3 to 5 day range, as opposed to the super cheap coolers where it's like 1 or 2 days and you're done.
Yeah.
So
we when we were doing the bear hunt, we were just getting blocks of ice and throwing them in the cooler in anticipation of actually getting something. We never did, but
the ice didn't melt at all though.
No.
I threw it in the freezer when we got home,
it.
right? Well, I ended up using it. But
nice.
Yeah, we had that sitting in the truck all day from morning till evening,
and it was sweltering heat.
And it was hot,
yeah.
And in the spring, and it was fine.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So see what happens. So we got a few options. So obviously we can go for whitetail and mule deer bucks. We can also go for elk. It's got to be 6 point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all with the bow. But we can also go rifle hunting for black bear if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And also snowshoe hare. And
which I really want to get still.
A rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Preferably a few.
Yeah. Apparently, like one is like a big meal for one person. So ideally, you want a couple of them. Like to share one is not bad between 2 people, but if we could get at least a couple of them would be pretty sweet.
Yep.
3 of them would be nice.
Grouse opens too, but it's only for youth hunters.
Right. So that'll be on the 15th. We can start going after them.
I think so. Let's check.
Good old Hunt Buddy. If you're in BC and you're
10th
using on the 10th, sweet. If you're not using Hunt Buddy, make sure you download that app. It's great.
Yeah.
It's even if you're out of cell service, it uses satellite to detect your location and it'll tell you where you're at. So if you're not sure what region you're in, it'll let you know no matter what, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. So for all the folks that aren't in BC, if you're interested, I guess in our area, we've got, like you said, mule deer, buck, whitetail buck, elk 6 point.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all bow only
until
September 10th. And then it switches to rifle season. The whitetail still remain any buck, and the mule deer move on to only 4 point bucks.
Right.
And I think elk 6 point rifle season starts on the 10th of September.
Nice.
And it goes into October.
Right.
So
sweet. So pretty exciting. I don't know if I was this excited last year. I probably was, but it feels like I get more and more excited each year and each. So this will be it's technically our 3rd season. It's like kind of our 2nd and a half, really, because the first one we missed out because we got our licenses late and all that kind of stuff. But we'll call it our 3rd. But again, just you learn so much each year. So you've kind of got all this knowledge that you've gained from previous seasons, and it just feels like your odds of success are that much greater each year. So
get to learn more about the area you're hunting in.
yeah.
And you have all season or all off season to think about all the things that you did wrong or that you want to try next season. So I think for me, it's even with fly fishing, I find I have this plan before I get in the truck of what I'm going to do on this morning and what I'm going to do on this morning. And then I get up there and I throw a chronomid on with a indicator and I'm measuring the depth, and I try the chronomid thing. I'm still a rookie.
Yeah.
Try that for a while. I'm not getting any bites. And my plan originally is to commit myself to that plan for X amount of hours, right? Keep switching off colors, keep switching off sizes, doing all that kind of stuff. But it's much harder to follow that plan when you're actually in the field. And that's the challenge, right? Is like sticking to your plan fully and then learning from it after, instead of switching everything every 15 minutes. Because then I think you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I've been thinking about. So,
you know, what we don't have around here, or at least I don't think we do, is like a archery range that's set up with 3D targets. That'd be fun, because then you've got more realistic scenarios. Like I've seen some photos of cool ones where you're like kind of outside, and you're shooting downhill, you're like shooting through little alleyways, like in trees and stuff like that. And it creates more of a realistic scenario for you rather than just shooting straight at a target, which we're going to be doing after this. But
I actually have a schedule of all the 3D archery hunts.
Oh, really?
Around town.
Oh, shit.
So we should have a look at that and plan one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It seemed like most of them weren't super close. Like you either have to go to Penticton or Salmon Arm or whatever.
There's one in Kamloops, I think, that's set up all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's one in Trail too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of all places.
It's pretty good range there, because it's where the rifle range is, and then the archery range, and then the 3D course that goes. There's like 18 holes kind of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we should set something like that up in Kelowna, man.
And the other thing is, I've got a buddy that happens to own some land out in the Kootenays.
Yeah.
And we can go on his property and hunt turkey.
When does turkey open?
I don't think it's till October. It's usually around Thanksgiving up here.
Yeah.
But he said basically 10 minutes, I can guarantee that you have a turkey. So
nice.
That with shotgun, obviously. I'd rather go with my bow. I really want to try to get turkey with a bow and set a blind up and all that. That might be a little harder, but either way, let's go get a turkey.
Yeah, we can even just do a overnighter there, get there earlier one day or something, and then.
Or we have another trip coming up in October too. So I think the travel is a bit different. It's a different route to get there, but maybe on the way back, or I don't know. Yeah. On the way there, we can stop in for a day and we can think about it.
Interesting.
I do have to go back to trail around the end of October.
Okay.
20th-ish. So.
Nice. Sweet. So we've got a few trips planned. We're going to be going to the Kootenays for one. I did a little trip back there, and it's my cousin that invited us to go out on this trip. And I don't want to give away the area, but it's out in the Kootenay Lake area. And I don't think a lot of guys go out there, but anyways, I decided to take a drive up there because my wife and I were traveling around through the Kootenays, and we'd never been up to this certain area. And unfortunately, there's no cell service up there, because I was going to text him and be like, hey, I'm in the area. Whereabouts are we going to be? But got a pretty good feel for what we're going to be hunting in. And if anybody who knows the Kootenays knows that it's steep. So we're going to be doing some hiking, which is cool. But Garrett has a really nice setup. Apparently he's got a wall tent with a stove and all that, so it's going to be pretty comfortable. But it'll kind of be like last year's trip into the park, where we're got a really nice camp, but we're hiking a lot each day. So I'm excited.
I'm excited to hunt there because you can get up in the elevation and kind of, I'm assuming you can get to a spot where you can just glass, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like get up super early, hike up before the thermals change.
Yeah.
And then sit there and kind of
Stay
scope
there
out a
until the
whole bunch
evening.
of areas, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then when you see something, the thermals have changed again, and you might be able to go, because as those mountains warm up, the wind's going to be going up, right? So if you're already up there and then you see stuff down there, it's so much easier to go down and grab it.
And there's an opportunity to hunt mountain goat too in that area, that'd be cool. And you can just buy a tag for them. So
Nice.
you don't have to apply for limited entry, which obviously would be too late for that anyways. But,
I love mountain goats. I think they're like one of the most majestic animals.
Cool looking. Yeah. Garrett, actually, I think I forwarded you that photo, and he's like, was out doing some scouting today, and it's a photo of him on this beautiful mountain peak with these goats right behind him. It turned out he was in a provincial park where hunting is not allowed, but he was just messing with us. But he said those goats were like, it's like petting zoo. They know they're in a protected area, I think, so they're like standing right behind him. But when he said that, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be some good hunting if they're that close. But
when he sent that, I was thinking, holy, I got to exercise. Looks like he's at the top of Everest.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to have to get in shape anyways.
Yeah. I mean, you said we're going to run this, not marathon.
We're going to do a 10K run in October.
Yeah. So I started running just gradually, like 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3. We're up to about 4 or 5 now.
Yeah.
And I actually, up to about 3 kilometers, I hate it.
Yeah.
But after that, I actually like it. Like you kind of get into this meditative kind of, like you can feel everything in your body's activated and the blood's flowing.
Yeah.
You feel like you get into a groove and you can just kind of keep going.
I do like, I've got a little route around my house that's about 6 kilometers or something like that. And getting out is always the hardest part. But I find that I just throw a podcast on while I'm doing it, and it's kind of easy to zone out a little bit and think about it less. But the interesting thing is I did that 10K in the spring, and running was pretty new to me, and I've always kind of hated running. But I wanted to sign up for the 10K just so that I had to practice. And like when you sign up for something, it's like it becomes real. You actually have a purpose to go out and do a bit of training. So leading up to the run, I didn't actually do any full 10K runs. It was usually just like kind of maximum of 6K that I would run. And I didn't even do it that often. But the cool thing about actually finishing the 10K was like, okay, I can actually run 10 kilometers without stopping. And after I did the race was when I sort of started to get addicted to hunting or to running, sorry. So like sort of flicked a switch in my head after running in that race and got me hooked on it. So it's weird because I hated running before.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely hated it. But now it's like, I actually want to go for a run.
And I find the key to running is the right shoes.
Yeah. And I bought some New Balance shoes.
And I think I ended up with the same one somehow.
Because they're like running on marshmallows, basically.
Yeah. Like if you need support, like arc support, that kind of stuff, make sure you get some stabilization shoes, because otherwise you're just you're gonna wreck your knees, you're gonna wreck your hips, your back's gonna hurt. Yep. It's just a compound effect.
And I think that's why I didn't like running previously, because I had they weren't like the barefoot shoes with the toes in them, but they were like the super
flexible ones, like the barefoot ones.
Pretty much, yeah. And I fucked up my knee running like that, and my ankle was kind of screwed. Yeah. And so I thought something was wrong with me. Like I thought maybe I was pigeon-toed, or like I didn't know what. But I think what the issue was is I was hitting really hard on my heels and just sort of destroying everything. So it was not fun. But as soon as I bought these new shoes, it was night and day.
Yep.
I think I told you that I signed up to do the Seattle half marathon.
Yeah.
Do you want to come?
Honestly, I would.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I can't even do a 10K at this point. So I feel like I'd just be killing myself.
You can. I don't know. It's not till late November, so I've started to train. I'm taking that one a bit more serious because I think it's 21 kilometers or just over.
How about I'll go on the next one?
Okay, I'll try it out. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to, but I think the timeline is, I would probably be more likely to injure myself than actually than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's good to get had I not done the 10K, there's no way I would have signed up to do a half marathon.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I like most about doing this podcast is like, and listening to other podcasts too, is fitness was never really a focus for me. We're both pretty active outdoors and stuff like that. But being fit allows you to push harder and stay longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of these, like to do this run is really sort of centered around like being more fit for hunting. That's like the only point really. And
that's what I love about hunting is like there's so many reasons to do it, to be out there, but it also gives you a reason to be like fit and healthy and go out and exercise because you feel like it's for this purpose, right? Like to go out there, and I think I was listening to another hunt backcountry podcast or something, another good hunting podcast, but they were saying, you know, a guy that's exercised stands on a ridge and looks at the next one and says, let's go get that deer. A guy that hasn't exercised looks at that ridge and goes, I don't know if I can make it over there. And they probably could. It's just that the mental strength of the two people are totally different. And the confidence of that person that's already ran 22 kilometers can say, oh, I can do that easy. Yeah. So I think it's more of for hunting, it's good to put yourself in that mental position, knowing that you can go there and get back. Like you don't have to worry about it. So and that's why it's good to hunt with guys who have the same mindset as you, because it would be unfortunate to do a big hunt and have to turn around because somebody else isn't feeling it. You know what I mean? And you also don't want to separate and go out on your own, because that's could create problems if you're way out in the backcountry. And but you were almost going to split off and do that. The whatever trail that ended up doing a big loop and up to the summit and back down, and on the map it didn't really seem like a big thing, but the next day we actually did it together. And I think we stopped at the top and you kind of said, I'm glad I didn't actually do this yesterday by myself, because even in some parts the trail would disappear and you'd kind of have to find out. And if you get into a night situation, and then the storm rolled in that night, right? So that was I had it in my head that morning. That's what I wanted to do. Right. And so it was like when we got to the split there, I know Kevin wasn't feeling it. I don't know if you were or not. Yeah, at that point it was pouring rain. Right, it was close to, it was starting to spit a little bit. Yeah, so we were... it started to pour after, and that's when it really settled, like the thought of, I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't go up there. Yeah, so but as much as I wanted to, I was kind of on Kevin's. I was like, I was also starving, so... So we were sitting at this fork in the trail, and it, as much as I wanted to do it, I had this weird gut feeling that was saying, don't do it. Don't split up. You don't even know this trail. Now I would be fine. I know where to go, but I wouldn't do it anyways now that I know what's up there. It was way, way longer than I thought it was going to be. And I think the amount of kilometers are similar both ways, but it's the vertical that is. Yeah, and it's not one vertical up and one down. No. It's valleys the whole way, right? Probably going back from the way that the opposite way would be a little bit better, because you're more so downhill on the way back. But
Anyways, that's one of those situations where you need to go with your gut, and I was pretty close to going off on my own, but man, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Because what would I have done if I'd shot something anyways? We didn't have radios.
No.
Nothing. That would have been stupid. So
Yep.
trust your gut. How did we get into this conversation? What we were talking about?
We were talking about exercises and running,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
So
I think
anyways.
my thing is just it's hunting gives you a reason to do a lot of things, but it also gives you a reason to stay healthy and get out there. So I find it personally hard to just go to the gym because like as much as I want to be healthy, it's hard for me to just go to the gym. I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
But now it's just like I don't care, right? Like I don't want to go down there and lift weights and deal with all those.
Yeah.
Like most of the people are good. There's occasional
I know.
mirror guy that just looks in the mirror more than he looks at the weights he's lifting. But I don't know. This is a whole different thing. It just feels like you're doing it for a reason.
The gym doesn't inspire me like being outdoors does, but I haven't done it yet. We'll see what happens, but I'm thinking about starting to go to a gym up the road here, a new one that just opened up. Just twice a week or something like that. Nothing major, but doing that with some running. And I'm more so worried about like the endurance side of running this half marathon, and which applies to hunting too. I want to be able to really push when we're out there, especially if we get something.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a good podcast that's related to fitness and hunting, Cameron Haynes, I think, is a pretty interesting dude. He just launched a new podcast, so I listened to the first couple episodes that he put up, and it's a good one for guys to check out too while we're talking about other podcasts. He's a bow hunter, but he also does he did the Bigfoot 200, which is this race through the mountains in Washington. That's I think it's like 203 miles in total or something like that.
Is it like a 24-hour run?
I think it's a couple of days. Yeah. So that guy is an animal, and I think he's 48 years old. It's pretty inspiring, really. So, not that he's old, but that somebody that age is in such good shape. And I think he's been like extremely successful in his hunts. Like every year he's brought down an elk and stuff like that. So that guy's a machine. Anyways, anything else we wanted? I guess we should go over a couple of emails.
Roundabout way to get to the emails. We had one by Kyle, and it goes back to that Ruger 1022 issue, and the fact that up here in Canada, they kind of prohibited any magazine that has more than 10 rounds. And we didn't really have a full understanding of it on the last podcast.
The info that you and I were both given, so I saw it through a gunsmith that I've had some work done on my stuff with. I got a thing from him, and it didn't really explain it very well either. It was more so related to the 22 that you have.
Yep.
And what else? I think did the shop that you bought it from send you something as well?
No, my game club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was kind of panicking because I just bought this thing, and I thought that somehow it was a prohibited gun.
Yeah.
But it turns out it was just the magazine. And in particular, magazines that hold more than 10 bullets, right? So we've got some feedback, and it seems that the common denominator is that everyone feels that the government kind of took a holistic approach in banning these magazines, but I think their target was actually the restricted weapons, like your handguns.
Yeah.
Because these magazines fit both the rifle and the handgun.
Right.
So they don't want handguns running around with 25, 50 capacity clips in them.
Mm-hmm.
But by doing that, they've also managed to make it a prohibited device for the people that have them for their 22s, which is millions of people in Canada.
Right.
So, yeah, I can definitely understand kind of why people are frustrated there. It seems like more of an education piece for the politicians more than anything.
Yeah.
So I guess Only thing you can do is write the politicians, right?
Yeah.
Talk to to your game clubs and take it from there.
Yeah, I guess I kind of get where they're coming from in banning those, but they're sort of late to the game on that one. And it's kind of shitty for the people who've already owned them, right?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, overnight, you're in possession of something that's now illegal, right? So I get both sides, really. You don't want that to get into the wrong hands, and I don't know, kind of a tricky situation. So you're good because yours is only a magazine.
It's only 10,
which is enough.
And I think we mentioned it. Like, I get it for people that shoot. It's kind of a pain, but for us, like for me personally, all I need is 10. All I got is a rifle. It doesn't affect me.
Hopefully you don't need 10 rounds to take out a rabbit.
It's more for a hunting thing, so
yeah,
it's all good from my perspective. But on the other hand, people are worried about they change one thing and then all of a sudden it turns into something else. So I get it.
What else did Kyle have to say?
He was talking about mule deer heart. So I think back in one of our early podcasts, we kind of talked about butchering our own deer and what we took, and then we took the heart. I don't think we really did too much with it, but I think it's a matter of just the experience, right? And I'm open to it. If we get another deer, we'll take it, fry it up.
I was ready to, because I cut the heart out and I was fully ready to eat it, but we sort of explained in, I think it was in the first episode, that spending that much time with that meat all day long and sort of the scent glands and everything sort of overwhelmed us a little bit. And the last thing we wanted to do was eat the heart. And the heart seems like something I would want to eat fresh, not freeze. I don't even know what we did with the heart.
It was in my fridge for quite a while.
Oh.
Until my wife thought, what is
what are you keeping this for?
But
Next time
I think what you do is you just cut out the inside piece, kind of like you would with a red pepper or something.
Nice.
Like a pepper, you cut the top off, you hollow out the inside.
Yeah.
I think you kind of do the same thing. And then slice it up, fry it up. So we should definitely.
He's got a little recipe on there, doesn't he?
He sent us a picture.
Nice.
It looks good.
It does.
So
Sweet.
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle,
and, we'll send you a picture of our next
we will.
heart.
Yeah, and we should probably eat the liver too.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'm not a big liver guy, so and nothing against just because it's a deer, but I'm not a big liver.
Yeah, me neither.
Guy.
I feel like if we're on one of our backcountry hunts and we get one and we've got tinfoil and like some onions or something like that, I think to cook it on a campfire would probably be really good. To fry it up at home, like I remember my dad frying up deer liver and stuff in the house. It just reeked.
That's
what I remember.
Me.
But if it was on a campfire, something about cooking on a campfire just
Yep.
makes it taste better.
What else do we got?
We'll try it all.
Jason?
We got an email from Jason, and we get quite a few of these emails, and it's guys who are just getting into hunting, and they're enjoying the show, just kind of hearing what we've gone through and what we're still going through. So he just got his pal in his core. So anyways, we just wanted to say good luck to Jason and thanks for listening. I think he's from the Okanagan too, and he's a chef. So maybe we'll invite Jason in to cook up some wild game for us one day here.
For sure.
But anyways, man, good luck out there, and thanks for sending us an email.
Send us some recipes too.
Yeah. Actually, if he does have some game recipes, well, I guess he's new to it, but I'm sure he's got some ideas for what to do with it. Would be cool. We've got we had quite a bit of new reviews up here in the Canada iTunes store, and one of the recent ones was a guy who said he was 41 and just getting into hunting and really enjoying the podcast. So that for me is really cool. to hear that we're, providing some information and some inspiration for all ages, really.
Mm-hmm.
And, you and I thought we were old getting into this at 29 or 30 or whatever it was. But not that 41 is old, but it's just cool that, it's not just kids who get into hunting, it's guys of all ages. So it's cool. It gets me excited to hear that more people are getting out there. I don't know if there was any other emails. I think there was a couple other ones, but we'll save them for the next one. I can't remember where it was, but somebody, actually that was a different email. I can't find it at the moment, but a guy wrote in and said he had some good hunting stories that he wanted to share. So I thought it might be kind of a fun idea to ask guys if they have a good hunting story that they want to share. It's obviously hard for us to get people in the studio, and we've got people listening all across Canada and in the US and stuff like that. But if you have your favorite hunting story and you want to submit it to us, just do it as a voice memo on your phone and send that file to us. And if we think it's a good hunting story, we'll share it on the podcast. We'll play it. Might be kind of fun. We're now getting like thousands of downloads, which is really cool. So I'm sure there's a few guys who are not going to be shy and they'll be willing to submit an audio format of their hunting stories.
Do you want to limit it to a length?
Yeah, I'll probably keep it, within 5 minutes or something like that. We're not going to play a 1 hour.
10 minutes if you're a really good storyteller.
If it's a really good story, yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, don't be shy. Send those in. It'd be kind of fun to play some of those. And as long as the audio quality is decent and it's a good story, we'll play it on an upcoming episode. So I'm sorry, I don't know who mentioned having a good story and wanting to come in, but whoever that was, record it on your phone, send it to us, theRookieHunterPodcast@gmail.com, and we'll consider playing it. While we're talking about submissions and stuff like that, we haven't updated our website in a little while. The summer's been a bit busy, but we've got theRookieHunter.com. It has a episode guide, which we need to update a little bit. Gear suggestions. You can stream the show from the website. There's a bunch of good stuff up there, and we've got a message board where people can get involved in conversations and stuff like that. So go check out the website. And I'm going to give another shout out to our American friends down in the States. We need some help reaching guys in the States. So please leave us a rating and review in iTunes if you get a chance.
Indeed.
That's my call to action. All right, Kelly, we've talked about this stuff before, but there's things in the news that shed a bad light on hunting. And as much as we've already talked about these types of things, I think it's important that as hunters, we kind of share our thoughts on posting photos and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a couple of things that in the last week here that have been in the news. The first one we won't spend too much time talking about, but it's I shouldn't even mention her name because she's getting death threats and stuff like that. But it's a 12-year-old girl that her and her dad, I get the impression they're probably fairly well off, and they travel all over the world doing big game hunts. That's their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just recently, I think she's got her own little Facebook page, or the family does, for hunting, and they posted a photo of this 12-year-old girl with a giraffe that she had killed with a bow. And guess what happened?
Everybody lashed out.
Yeah. And
that's what happens.
That's what happens. So, I don't think it's right to send a 12-year-old girl death threats. That's not going to help anything.
The problem there is that everybody's doing it behind an anonymous username too, right?
Yeah.
So not only are you posting it on social media, but everybody else can just say whatever they want, and it's not right at all. But
no.
Yeah, why would you want to put yourself in that position?
I don't know,
question.
man. It's so we've had quite a few. Okay, so if you're in the hunting community, you know that there's been Cecil the lion. There was the rhino one that got people.
Mm-hmm.
So, say you and I were interested in going to Africa and doing a, I don't know, rhino hunt or a lion hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in that at all. But say we did.
I'd like to go to Africa.
I'd like to go to Africa.
I don't think I would be interested in hunting such a controversial animal.
No.
But like an antelope or something like
Yeah,
that.
something that's more like a deer.
Well, even I can't remember the names of all the animals out there, but there's some like a kudu and all those types of things. I would love to go over there and hunt that, but again, I'm not gonna.
So here's the thing: don't post photos of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Or if you do, at least know that there's a high chance that this is going to happen, especially when it's your 12-year-old daughter. Right?
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that her bow or her arrows were pink. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but it just kind of adds to so it's a girl, a young girl. She shot a giraffe with a pink arrow. Mm-hmm. It sort of messes with your head a little bit. You know what I mean? It's one thing to see a rough-looking dude with a beard that looks like he's been out in the bush for a week and he's covered in dirt, but a young girl with a pink arrow and a dead giraffe is kind of a...
Yeah, I think that's the other story here is that female participation in hunting is growing, and I think that's a good thing.
It's great.
But I think if you post the same picture, not even with a 12-year-old girl, but with like 25-year-old girl versus a dude with a beard or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The reaction is going to be totally different.
Yeah.
From non-hunters and even hunters. So I don't think that's right. I think we got to kind of step back and reevaluate that reaction.
Yeah.
Because there's really no difference.
No.
I don't know. I just don't agree with that. There seems to be a lot more of a backlash going after like female hunters.
Yeah.
That are posting those pictures.
Yeah. I think any African animal, like, I don't think it doesn't matter so much if you're male or female, because obviously we saw it with the lion and the rhino and stuff like that.
It strikes a chord.
For us over here, when we think of those animals, they're sort of majestic creatures. I've never seen one in the wild, and I would love to, but we don't have them in our backyard. You know what I mean? We don't see them. We don't understand what the implications of them are. We don't understand what problems they might be causing, what positive aspects there might be to eliminating one of these animals. So from what I read from this, I'm going to look at the positive sides of what happened. They were on a hunting farm in South Africa. I don't know what they mean by a hunting farm. Is it a fenced off? Like,
I'm not sure.
There are these areas that are hundreds of acres that are fenced, and it's obviously a business. They charge big bucks to come over and do that. Anyways, this giraffe in particular was causing problems, which was the same thing with that rhino, the rhino hunter thing we talked about. And so I think they probably paid a significant amount of money. They were told which giraffe needed to be taken out, and that's the one they hunted and killed. And apparently the meat was donated to a local village. So
yeah,
I wasn't able to find how much money they spent on this hunt and where that money went, which is, to me, is kind of an important thing to know. I want to know if that goes back into conservation or if it just went into some, it could be an American outfitter that's set up over there and it just went into his pocket, which I don't think is great.
Yeah.
But when these things support some sorts of conservation efforts, that was the case with the rhino. That was an older rhino that was actually posing more of a risk to the rest of the rhino population because they become aggressive at a certain age.
Yep.
And there's a chance that they're going to kill more rhinos.
I think that was the case with that one.
Yeah. So there's two sides to all this stuff, but I think it's important to know that posting these photos to Facebook is not a good idea. There are hunting forums. Like I signed us up for, it's called it's like an African hunting forum. That is a perfect place to post those photos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever checked out that forum, Cal, but there's dead lions and elephants and shit all over in there, and it's normal. That's what, like,
it's as long as it's a game management thing, and like you said, everything's done for a reason. And I think the key is, and especially for people that aren't educated in hunting and conservation, don't take it at face value.
Yeah,
because at face value, it's a girl with a pink bow and a pink arrow and smiling in front of a dead giraffe, and a lot of people freak out. But at the end of the day, there's a story behind it, and the money could have gone somewhere, like you said. But also, that girl, the idea of giraffes in general, or animals in general, like I could see it's more likely for her to grow up loving animals more than probably everybody.
Yep.
Or most people that are responding to these threads. And she, for all we know, could end up becoming a biologist and conservation expert who ends up saving 1 million giraffes.
You never know.
Because she loves them so much. Like, just because she hunted one and wanted to eat the meat and do all this stuff doesn't mean that she doesn't love animals. And I think that's where people they can't grasp that below face value. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just doing it because whatever, but I don't think that's the case. I think that's just where people go right off the bat.
Yeah.
So same with us and with any hunter. I think we do it because we appreciate that there's life and death involved in the food we eat, and we want to be a part of it rather than ignore it.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where it's also a hobby, and you want to kind of experience things that you haven't experienced, and I think that's why people go to Africa. But there's nothing wrong with that in my mind.
Nope.
As long as they're not taking animals that are, endangered and illegal and all that kind of stuff.
So I have no plans to post a photo of anything we kill on Facebook.
No, I don't really either.
It might show up on our Instagram, probably will, because that's what we sort of promote through our Rookie Hunter is the keyword hunter Instagram account, and there's a good chance it'll end up there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's not going to end up on any of my personal stuff that's tied in with my business, and you have probably coworkers on yours, and I don't worry so much about a deer or an elk or something like that. I think we would probably get more positive feedback from people, but you and I are also interested in hunting a bear, which took a considerable amount of research for us to even sort of get into the idea of hunting a bear.
And most people still don't understand why we would want to hunt them, right?
And I don't think they understand that as far as like usable parts, a bear exceeds a deer or an elk. There's more things that you can pull off of a bear than those other animals. So
and more uses for the fat and everything.
Yeah. So, so say we posted an elk or a deer, I think it would be fine. But say you and I posted a photo of us with a bear, I think people would probably not be too stoked at all, and that could backfire on us, right? So I think you really have to consider these things. I think if it's through social media, you need to consider the people you might offend, that you have friends. If all your Facebook friends are hunters and you live out in the bush somewhere, then everyone's going to be stoked to see that. But if you have a range of people, like I've got over 1,000 people or something as Facebook friends, I don't even know, 95% of them really. It's just like through networks of music and stuff like that. Those people are not going to be interested in seeing that at all. So I know I'm going to offend a whole bunch of people, and that's going to reflect negatively on me and also on hunting, right? So
just respecting that not all people want to see that. It's fine.
Yeah.
I find it interesting the scale at which people rate animals.
Yeah, it is
of
interesting.
Sacred versus cow. It's like, well, if you guys were hunters, if you just ate normal grocery store food, then that bear would walk around its whole life and be uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that's true. But if you didn't eat all that meat in the grocery store, those cows would be fine. Oh, but those cows are made for farming and killing.
Yeah, but they also suffered their whole lives. And
yeah, exactly. So where do you rank a cow versus a bear, and a bear versus a giraffe, and a fish versus it's just a total paradox. And yeah,
it's hard. We've talked about vegans and stuff before, and I think you're right. We're almost like closer to vegans and what they're trying to achieve, which is to get away from factory farming and all that. We have the exact same goals, as to not buy meat from a grocery store and know where everything is coming from.
Yeah,
is huge for us. Anyways, we could beat that topic to death, but so that was the first thing that was in the news. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to it.
No, the giraffe one. I think we're going to see a couple more of those stories.
Oh, there's going to be more. Yeah. But just stop doing it.
Like you said, I think the one missing piece to all this is how much did they pay? Where did the money go?
Yeah.
I think we know the meat was donated.
Apparently, yeah.
Personally, if I was going over there to hunt, I'd want to take the meat for myself, but a giraffe's a pretty big animal. I don't think you can take it all back. But, I mean...
That's where the weird part is, I think, is it almost does feel like they just did it to kill it, to cross it off the list.
And
right?
I think that's really what pisses people off.
Yeah. And I tend to agree with that somewhat. But if that's what you want to do, and it's not like it was illegal, right? And the meat got eaten, so that's...
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird concept to have a list of all these things you want to kill.
Yeah.
And not eat.
Like, I have a list of things I want to try to eat.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have a list of things I want to kill.
No. But we have to kill these things in order to eat. Exactly. But it's a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of weird. And I don't know.
What was
to each their own.
What was the other one?
The other one was Josh and Sarah Bowmar.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it Bowman or is it Bowmar?
The bear spearing.
So it's interesting that this came up in the news so much later, because my brother-in-law Kevin, he was on the show a while back, he sent us we've got like a group Facebook chat where we post links to each other and news and stuff like that, and he put up the full-length video like when it first came out, and we all watched it, and I didn't think a whole lot of it. My first thought was that Josh, the guy that speared the bear, he to me seems like someone who needs attention. You know what I mean? He might have, I don't know, he just seemed a bit off to me, you know what I mean? There's no real polite way to say it, but
yeah, just
the way he reacted and stuff like that just seems like a cry out for attention. And so I'm sure you guys have seen the video or heard about it, but he's from the U.S.
He definitely got the attention.
He got what he wanted, I guess. But so they came up from the States to an outfitter in Alberta. I think it's I don't know if it was guided or if it was just through an outfitter or something like that.
I'm not sure.
It's in Alberta anyways. And so it was a baited situation, which is legal in Alberta. We're not allowed to bait bears, and in British Columbia, baiting is a whole other topic of discussion. I'm fine with it. I think it's kind of weird because it's not something we can do. So it's when you grow up with something, it seems the norm from an outsider's perspective. And
there are advantages to baiting bear.
I think the main thing is when you get into thick brush like that, how else are you going to find a bear?
Yeah, and the other thing is identification, because you want to try to take the
male.
old boar that is actually going around killing and eating the cubs to try to get the females to mate again.
Okay, let's set up the positive sides of this thing. So you need to control predator populations, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what this guy was up there to do, right? Well, sort of. So what he did was 100% legal. He was going for a bigger boar. By removing these animals, you help improve the moose and elk populations or whatever's in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important. There's a ton of black bears in Alberta, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I think right through Canada, it's just there's so many.
And I don't think a lot of people hunt black bear, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind
part of the problem.
Yeah, part of the problem, and part of the reason why Kelly and I are doing it. You know, beside the fact that it's completely edible and sounds like it's amazing to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's the setup to it. He didn't do anything illegal, but what he did do was he speared it with his own homemade spear. It looked pretty heavy duty, like pretty intense. And I think he was actually like an athlete. Like he's got his own fitness Instagram and shit. I checked it out. Mm-hmm. And I think he was actually like an athlete, like a javelin. I don't know what you'd call him. A javelinist.
Javelist.
That's what we'll call it. So he is skilled, right? Mm-hmm. And if somebody's going to do that, he's probably the best one to do it. I didn't really like the video. It didn't sit well with me. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, it didn't sit well with me either. My first reaction.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I read a little bit about this, and his comment was that method of hunting provides the most chance for the animal to get away, which, I mean, I get that. You got to be within 10 yards to throw that. The fact that it's baited kind of makes that a little bit of a wash in my mind.
Yeah.
Like you're still just hiding behind a tree and then you pop out and throw a spear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just doesn't, at the end of the day, I think it's hunting and it's another tool for hunting. And we've always probably used spear more than anything else historically.
Yeah.
But what I worry about is the efficiency of that weapon to make a efficient kill, especially in the hands of somebody that isn't that skilled.
Exactly.
And you got to hit the vitals. If you don't hit the vitals, that animal is going to suffer for a long time with a spear hanging out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, people could say that with a rifle or a bow, you're at the same danger, right? You can miss a shot, you can do all that stuff. But I find with those weapons, everything is kind of isolated to a stabilized, repeatable movement. And it usually comes down to your index finger moving 0.5 centimeter.
Yeah.
Whereas with him, it's a full compound exercise of him throwing that spear, and the amount of things that could go wrong in that movement seems, I guess I'm thinking more for the chance to injure an animal.
Yeah.
And also the safety of the hunter if it goes wrong. You're 10 yards away from a bear, and now you hucked a spear and hit it in the toe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to go well for you.
No.
There's a chance it's not going to go well for you. So I think...
Or the bear. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Alberta was actually considering banning bear spearing.
Sounds like they're going to ban it in the fall.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I think people aren't spear hunting anymore. It's not that effective, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's just better technology to do it.
Yeah. So I think the worst parts of the video are his reactions seem a little bit overboard to me. And there's showing the intestines that had fallen out of the animal, and they didn't retrieve the bear until the next day, so who knows what happened between then and there. I guess I read somewhere else too that he had the video and he was showing the bear, but then he also took photos of himself for Instagram and smeared blood all over himself for dramatic effect. So it kind of goes back to my point that this seems like an individual that really is crying out for attention. You know what I mean? I don't know where that comes from, but he reminds me of somebody that I know that sort of didn't get much attention as a kid, and I see that in them now and some of the things that they do, and kind of sad in a way. I'm projecting this onto this guy. I don't actually know him, but it just seems that way to me. And the other part of the story is that his wife, Sarah, was on the pro staff for Under Armour, and Under Armour cut ties with them because I don't think we said this, but it doesn't really need to be said. People did not react well to this video. And even though it just came out in June, people sort of just discovered it now, and it's blown up, and people are pretty pissed off about it.
Yep.
For some of those reasons we just mentioned.
Yeah, and I think sponsorship is kind of about association, and it goes both ways. Like, I think it's the company's decision to associate themselves with a certain person and what they stand for, and vice versa. And I don't know, I'm not exactly sure, I can't speak on behalf of either party.
No,
but if that company feels that they don't want to associate themselves with a topic like that, or that's controversial, whether it's right or wrong, I think it's their prerogative to cut ties. And she was there in the action, so it's not like she was a tennis player that happened to have a husband that's a hunter, right? Which I kind of thought was the case at the beginning. She was actually there, she's a hunter, and I don't know, I think Under Armour could have went either way with it.
I think so too. So it's kind of unfortunate for her, but she is married to the guy, and they could have made the decision not to post that video.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear to me that, say you and I speared a bear, same thing, man. There was no fucking way I would post that video because I know it's going to piss people off.
I think it might have been a attempt at a business plan, right? Like
we're talking about him right now, so you know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, you could, who knows? She's already got a sponsorship with Under Armour.
Not anymore.
He potentially gets sponsored, or maybe a new sport type. I mean, it goes to so many levels.
Yeah.
He could start making spears for spear hunting or whatever, right? Like, there's always it seems like if you're in the business of getting sponsors, creating Instagrams, putting out videos, doing that might have been the driver.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that, but at the end of the day, might it not have been the smartest?
It's interesting because when you have a sponsor, obviously we've got our friends at Dark Energy, so we need to be somewhat conscious about what we're putting out there. It's sometimes you post things on impulse, like you might post a photo right after something happened, and maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should think about it. Maybe you should show the meat instead of the dead animal, or whatever, or tell the story in a different way than showing a pretty gruesome video with a strange reaction to it. And you have to know that there's probably implications to putting a video out like that, which could affect a sponsorship. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a hard thing I can't, when something blows up with a big company like that, obviously they have to do what's best for the company. And her being associated with him and filming the video, it kind of makes sense to me that they would drop her.
Yep. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to feel sorry for her. I think you should have thought about that before you put it up.
Or if you're sponsored by them, check in and say,
do you guys support this video or not?
Do you support this type of hunting? But I think you mentioned it. There's a lot more non-hunters than there are hunters. Yeah. And they have the power to, take our rights away.
You already said this, is that Alberta is very likely to ban spear hunting by the fall, from what I read. So because of his actions, spear hunting is
spear hunters
gone.
Are gone,
spear hunting in British Columbia is actually legal as well. I think maybe in Ontario too. Yep. You can expect that to disappear probably rather quickly as well. So this is spear hunting, this isn't rifle hunting or bow hunting, but it just takes somebody to post a gruesome bow hunting video or rifle hunting video and put that out there. And, that might blow up in the wrong way. All of a sudden people are talking about hunting, and it could backfire on all of us. And, they might take some of hunters' rights away because of somebody put up a stupid video.
Yep.
Right? So I think the moral of the story is, if you're unsure of something or you think it might be controversial, even though I think we should be free to post whatever we want, think twice about it and post it in the right spots. Hunting forums, people are going to really appreciate photos and stuff like that. But if it's a weird one, think about the greater hunting community and what that's going to do to everyone, because
some politicians and stuff hang out in those forums too, right?
That's
true. Got to be even careful there.
Yeah. So I don't know, man, that's a complicated one, but I think you just have to look at the big picture and realize that we're outnumbered by non-hunters, and we have to do our best to have a good reputation in the community, and do our best not to taint that in any way.
Yeah. Be advocates for the sport, but don't just throw up pictures and say, I do this because I think it's right, so screw everybody.
Yeah.
It's more about advocating and being a good role model and advocate for the sport in general, I think.
Yeah. It just takes a couple of people to really, ruin it for everybody else. And this was yesterday, actually. I was behind this guy in this big, noisy, obnoxious truck, and he had hunting stickers all over it. He was driving like an idiot, right? And he even threw a cigarette butt out the window, which, if you live in the Okanagan, is a ridiculous thing to do. We're in crazy fire season right now. We have terrible fires every year. So that guy is not doing a service to the hunting community, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's some pretty terrible advertising, and it made me mad, you know what I mean, to be following that truck, and he's a hunter, I'm a hunter. Nobody around me is going to know I'm a hunter, even though I'm, not driving like a douchebag and throwing shit out the window. That guy's got hunting stickers all over his truck, and I don't know, man, that stuff just drives me crazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to think about these things.
For sure.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I think that's all that has to be said. We've kind of touched on this before.
We have too, but it's just like this week was a bad one. And just before we started recording, I wanted to just refresh my memory on some of the details of these two stories. And there's another one that just emerged of a young girl eating a heart out of a deer. And they posted the video or the photo or something of this girl eating a heart right out of the deer. Nice. It's just the same. So it's been kind of a bad week for hunting.
Like you said, it's free speech, you have the right to do all this stuff, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be any consequences.
Yeah.
And not everybody understands these things the way hunters do.
No. And
even though I'm sure everybody wants to make or try to get other people to understand them, there's better ways to do it.
Yep.
And the way to do it is to engage people so that they will have a conversation with you, not so that they will be defensive right off the bat. And you got to try to, I think we all have to try to do that, is get both chairs facing the same way.
Yep.
Like, I think Outpost Kareem, when we had him on the show, he made a point that he's had a lot of conversations with non-hunters, but they've always ended positively.
Yeah.
And I think we're the same way.
Yep.
But we're attacking it from a collaborative kind of open aspect, and we're trying to get them to be open. We're not shoving something in their face and saying, what's your problem?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's where the bear thing is kind of interesting, you know what I mean? Is
I sort of didn't really get it either. And so it's kind of, if I had a conversation with somebody and they'd understand why you would hunt a bear, I'm sure I could make them understand why, and they would be okay with it by the end of the conversation. So it's tricky. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. I don't know. Just think about shit before you do it.
Double take.
Yeah. I think we can leave that topic alone.
Yep.
Hopefully it won't come up again. I think we've probably talked about it enough, but oh well.
News in the hunting community. It's good to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, for sure. Keep the bad stuff down. You gonna say something?
I was just looking at Oscar here. He seems to have woken up. We put him to sleep, so hopefully we don't put all listeners to sleep.
Anything else you want to add to today's episode?
No, I think this was good timing too. I mean, it's just a reminder for all the rookies out there too, right? Like, you get something, you're excited, you put out the picture and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, hunting is a week away in BC, so it's good timing. And I'm just looking forward to getting out there, and I'm even looking forward to this next week. I know we want to get out and grab the trail cam. Yeah, that's going to help with some research right before the season opener. I took the day off for the season opener. We've already gone up and kind of got the rifles sighted. I've gone home and dumped all my gear on the floor in the basement. Nice. So I'm doing checklists, and I've got a few things I want to pick up. One other thing that I want to mention that I want to focus on more this year is wind. Yeah. I'm going to go kind of build a little wind checker. Yeah. So I don't know.
Some talcum powder or something?
Yeah, something like that. And I don't think we've been paying attention to the wind enough. But we'll see. Yeah. Once we have those tools, we'll be able to, I want to check it all the time, and I think it's completely pointless to walk in the direction of the wind. And maybe we could plan that out a little better. But I mean, we've been running into deer and stuff. It's the bucks that we've haven't run into, and maybe we're just not in the right spot.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty conscious of it, but there's the times when it's like, sometimes you can't really tell which way it's going. Yeah. Or it's moving, it's changing constantly. And especially if we're going to attempt sitting in an area this year.
Let's make sure we're set up.
Yeah, in a good spot and checking it, often then. I'm pretty excited.
And really focusing on where you want to go, but what's the best way to get there. And if it's twice as long to go this way to keep the wind out, I want to...
Might be worth it.
I kind of want to be putting that as a priority this year. Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah, the preparation is fun, and it's like Christmas right now.
It is. And just doing that hiking trip that I did last month there, and that just got me all the more excited. I've tested all of my gear, and like, I'm super ready this year, so super pumped.
We talked about fly fishing and stuff, like trying to incorporate that into this podcast. And just to touch on the fishing, we've gone out, or I've gone out quite a bit to Wood Lake, and I've done a lot of kokanee fishing. Yeah. Fly fishing didn't really happen. It turned out to be an extremely busy summer with way too many weddings. I don't know if it's just the age group we're in or what.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I did go up last weekend to a higher elevation lake, and just had the hardest time fishing. It's known as a tough lake, but there was this one guy anchored down, and he was fly fishing, and like, why did he pick that spot? So we're driving around, and then we get kind of close to him, and out of nowhere, I just all of a sudden couldn't see. Like, bugs were hitting me in the face. I couldn't open my mouth. There's this big hatch that was happening right by him. Wow. Kind of black ants, and there's stuff floating all over the place. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't land a fish, and he was pulling one out every 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
So I guess what I'm thinking is this year I didn't do enough fishing. In the fall, it's tough because it's hunting season too, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. And if anybody is good at fly fishing and lives in BC or even in the interior and wants to touch base with us, I encourage that too, because I want to keep that conversation going.
Yeah.
And hopefully build off the fishing piece.
Yeah. I wanted to get out fishing more, but up into we were doing the bear hunt, so that sort of took over some good fishing time. And then like you said, July and August were just busy. Like you and I were gone quite a bit.
And it's pretty tough fishing then too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think September, October would be good again, but then we're spending all of our time hunting, so it's a bit tough. That's kind of what's holding us back. If there's any fly fishers out there that are waiting for us to do this fly fishing episode, but I think we'll get there. It's just a steep learning curve, and we'd be interested to talk to all the folks in BC here, and anything we can learn from you guys would be awesome. Yeah,
definitely. Cool. Well, I was going to say it once more. If you do have a hunting story to share, be it a lion hunt or an elk hunt or whatever, this is a good platform to share it. So send it over to us.
Or a fly fishing story.
A fly fishing story. Even backpacking or camping or anything. Anything interesting. We'll record it on your phone as a memo and send it to us. The Rookie Hunter Podcast at gmail.com. And if it's good, we'll play it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Kel, let's get the bows out and call this an episode.
Sounds good.
All right. Good luck out there, guys. We'll probably touch base in September. And hopefully, we've said this before. No, I'm not going to say it.
You know what we were going to say, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to you soon.
Happy hunting, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.